With just 33 days to go now until the state election, the announcements from both major parties have been coming thick and fast. But there's a chance the Greens could actually hold the balance of power. And today, the party formally launched its platform. Leader of the Victorian Greens is Samantha Ratnam, and she joins me now in studio. Samantha, thanks so much for coming in. OK, let's start with some of your headline policies that you announced today. Free ambulance cover for all Victorians.
Yes, we think this is a really important public service. So many people get hit with huge bills when they call an ambulance at a time of incredible distress for them. We think it's really important that this is universally available to all Victorians.
Do you know how much that's going to cost?
It's approximately $175 million a year, but we think it's a really important service that all Victorians need as part of the public health system.
Another policy that no doubt will cost in the hundreds of millions, a plan to upgrade our state school facilities.
Absolutely. So many of our state school facilities have very run-down buildings with a huge maintenance backlog. So we've announced that we would fill that backlog and ensure that schools have the funding they need in the ongoing future to make sure they provide the best facilities to their students.
Is that something that parents are urging you to spend money on rather than, let's say, on numeracy and literacy?
Well, we get a number of requests and we hear from countless parents, students and teachers who talk about the state of their school facilities. It's really important that our public education system gets the funding that it needs. We unfortunately lag behind in Victoria. Schools maintenance funding is really important, but we also should be investing in all other facets of public education.
OK, let's talk about transport because it's very much a focus of the upcoming state election. We've seen big announcements come from both Labor and the Liberals. You've pledged $100 million to start planning for Melbourne Metro 2. You've also promised, I think it's 300 additional high-capacity trams and a number more trains. It is all, of course, well and good to promise these things, but I think what many voters might be asking, particularly when it comes to a Greens announcement, is how you're going to pay for it.
Well, we've seen so many Greens policies already implemented and with more Greens elected to Parliament, we have a real chance to put our plan, A Future for All of Us that we outlined today, into action. And they would be funded through a mixture of new revenue mechanisms that we've outlined as well. And the state is in a good position financially, and it is about a statement of priorities. We think public transport has been underfunded for years, underinvested in for years, and we're playing catch-up now with the system just not coping. So it's a really timely and worthwhile investment.
What do you make of the announcements that have been made so far? Of course, there's been fast rail from both the Premier and the opposition leader. Of course, the mega suburban rail loop. Have you been impressed by any of those policies that have been announced?
Well, it's been really good to see public transport at front and centre of the agenda for this state election campaign. The Greens have been championing improving our public transport system for years because so many people in our community could see that the system just was not coping with the increased patronage. We're glad to see it at front and centre of the agenda. We do think, however, the investment has to start now. We shouldn't have to wait for 2050 for an investment in our public transport system and faster and more frequent services. That's why we've outlined plans that would increase the frequency of services of trains, trams and buses straight away.
Infrastructure Victoria said that you have missed the mark on some of your transport announcements. One example was for Melton, saying that what you had announced there was really not going to meet the critical need for Melton. Do you pay much attention to that?
Well, look, we want to take as much advice and feedback, and we're open to dialogue with our key agencies and experts. What we have outlined is a full vision for public transport across Melbourne and Victoria, and that's thinking about all modes of public transport, and with specific actions and significant actions that start now. Unfortunately, we have lots of promises from other parties that start many years from now, but Victorians want action right now.
OK, let's talk about pokies, always a contentious issue. You have said that you want machines gone from pubs and clubs here in Victoria in the next 10 years. How are you going to achieve that?
Well, we've seen the devastation that pokies have caused individuals, families and communities now for decades, with billions of dollars lost every year. We want to see a phase out of the pokies out of our community over the next 10 years. Current licences expire in 4 years' time, and then we would give local councils the power to decide if licences can be extended for one more period of 6 years. There's a $200 million fund there, which would help clubs transition away, if they have pokies at the moment, to create other activities within their club space.
What are the financial ramifications, though, of abandoning these licence extensions? Do you know what the cost is going to be?
Well, the current licences expire in 4 years' time. What we will be doing is offering one more extension of 6 years that council would be able to determine how many licences would be extended. So there wouldn't be ramifications from that point of view because there would be contained licences. But we do know that the billions of dollars that currently are poured into the pokies, often from people who can least afford it, will then stay in communities and really boost our local economies. Currently, the state government has to cough up hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars every year, to pick up the pieces of broken lives that the pokies cause.
How do you make up, though, for the huge hole in government revenue that pokies create?
Well, we've outlined a number of revenue measures, which we'll be talking about more in the next few days and coming weeks. We think the government should be really serious about thinking about more ethical ways of raising revenue, rather than raising revenue that costs people's lives so much.
OK, let's talk about the seats that you currently hold. You have 3 in the lower house and you're clearly targeting Brunswick and Richmond. But are you confident of holding on to those 3 seats you already have? Because Prahran was very close in 2014. Do you think you can hang on there?
Well, we have 3 terrific MPs in Ellen Sandell, Lydia Thorpe and Sam Hibbins, and they have been working so hard for their communities. The feedback that we're getting on the ground is absolutely terrific. I was out campaigning with Sam just last weekend and we're getting fantastic feedback. We're launching the biggest campaign that we've ever run. So I'm really hopeful that those 3 MPs will be returned with more joining them on that bench.
And just quickly, the Premier and Opposition Leader have both ruled out doing a deal with the Greens. Your response to that?
Well, we're starting to get used to this kind of posturing from those political leaders, but I would say that the people that they should really listen to are the voters in Victoria who will cast their ballots on the 24th of November at this state election. And should they elect Greens into the balance of power, I would advise Mr Andrews that he should be open to talking to the Greens.
All right, Samantha Ratnam, all the best. Thanks so much for joining us.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.